innovative evergreen, the innovation which has become a standard.
She was the meanest cat in all Chicago town. She was the meanest cat. She really mowed them down.
Let's go back to the past. Imagine you were born in late 60s, being 5-6 years old boy in 1971, your eyes appear this. A brand new model from Mercedes-Benz, the R107. Since that time, for next 18 years, you've been able to see only this coupe cabrio model made by Merc. It was highly probable that if you were 6 in mentioned 1971 and your father would have owned one, you could still have the same model 18 years later in 1989. 18 years. This is how long this model was produced. Moreover, this model is the second longest ever produced Mercedes, right after the King of the Jungle, the iconic G-Class. After 8-year-long life of Pagoda, the time has come. The R107 was meant to be a step forward, a step into a new decade. As Mercedes refers, for the first time in the history of this spectacular sports car series, the elongated bonnet now concealed an 8-cylinder power unit. All correct. The very first V8 engine mounted in SL R107 was 3.5 litre petrol engine, which develops 200 horsepower and took around 9 seconds from 0 to 100. But was it the only innovation presented? The answer is obviously no. The company applied many features to rise up the passengers' safety level. For example, A-pillars were strengthened. Fixed glass were inserted into the front windshield just to create a decent rollover protection. Fuel tank were placed above the rear axle instead of being vulnerable at the end of the car like it had been before. This is 1982 model, already equipped with ABS, airbag and belt tensioner. All these features were offered by Mercedes exactly from 1982. However, the only one feature was as that strongly influential that made Mercedes famous for. The taillights. Some may say they are unique, nice and wavy, designed only for Mercs, but honestly, what are these for? If we have a glance at the gamma of Mercs models over 70s, 80s and even 90s, we may notice that they all equipped with this ribbed surface taillights, like in W123, W116, W124 and even W140, the luxurious sedan of 90s. What was their job? Repelling dirt. But let's be honest, if I throw some dust towards the taillight, as it usually happens during cross-country road trips, the dust will stay on the steps and cover the light. As we all know, 500 SL develops 240 horsepower. Well, thinking about that amount of power transmitted into the tarmac, what width of the tire would be most appropriate? 225? Or maybe 255? Well, surprisingly thinner. This Mercedes left the factory with 205, 70 R14s, which means the grip is going to be loosened immediately.
Ja, naja gut, er hat noch nicht ausgekommen. Leute, der hat Power, 380 PS.
When it's getting darker, let's talk about prices. This kind of cruise machine in 1984 at the British market costed from £17,000 for 280 SL up to £22,850 for the 500 SL. Considering the inflation rate, R107 would cost today between 57,700 and 77,600 pounds, whereas brand new 2020 SL costs exactly 79,900 pounds. However, as they say, it is all worthy as much as we can pay for it. So let's have a glance at the real value of the R107. Prices of these cars begin even below 6,000 euros. However, we talk about mostly US specification with 6 cylinders. It is not bad, but it's not a V8 either. On the other hand, cars from European markets like this with massive V8 under bonnet, original paintwork and upholstery may reach a price peak of even 100,000 euros. The R107 does not belong to cheap cars in use as well. The prices of spare parts looks like this. Brand new soft top, 700 euros. Used taillights, 300 euros. Used headlights, 800 euros. Gauge cluster, 200. Grille, 300. Bumper, 1,000 euros each. It is not cheap, but it is not terribly expensive as for the 40 or 50 years old Merc. The question is it worth investing money in it? In my opinion, this is a decent old-timer. Nonetheless, I'm afraid in the next 10-15 years it would not receive a badge of an icon like 190 SL or Pagoda. However, good news, it won't be any cheaper. Thank you very much for watching.